Welcome back to Celebrity Scoop. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for the latest on all things royal. For many a decade, the relationship between the media and the monarchy has been one of mutual benefit. The media, especially those of British origin, has long stood as the unofficial public relations arm of the royal family. The glittering crowns, the grandeur of palaces, the pomp and pageantry of royal events, all have been faithfully reported, often with a touch of reverence. The media's portrayal of the royal family has largely been favourable, painting them as figures of stability and tradition in an ever-changing world. But within this long-standing alliance, the power dynamics were always clear. The media was the messenger, but the monarchy held the reins. It was an unspoken pact, an understanding that the press would play its part in maintaining the royal family's image. And for the most part, this arrangement worked well. The media had their stories, and the monarchy enjoyed favourable coverage, a win-win situation for all involved. But as the saying goes, nothing lasts forever. And in the world of media, change is the only constant. Today, there are signs that this age-old alliance is undergoing a seismic shift. The New York Times, one of the world's most respected and influential newspapers, has recently published an article that has sent shockwaves through the monarchy. The piece didn't just question the leadership of King Charles and Prince William, it suggested that the ongoing rift with Prince Harry could tarnish the legacy of the monarchy itself. This is not a tabloid sensation or a fan blog rumour. This is a serious commentary from a major international news outlet. This shift indicates a new dawn, a time when the media no longer feels obligated to portray the monarchy in a favourable light. It's a turning point, signalling that the media is ready to question, to challenge, and to hold the monarchy accountable. If the royals thought they had media loyalty locked down forever, they're in for a rude awakening. Years of smear campaigns against Harry and Meghan, contrasted with the flawless portrayal of Charles and William, are coming to an end. There's a new narrative brewing, and it isn't one the monarchy will find comforting. Traditionally, the royal family has been painted in an untouchable light, with Charles and William portrayed as the epitome of nobility. However, a shift is occurring, a turning tide that's beginning to question the image projected by the palace. In the past, any criticism aimed at the monarchy was muffled, but the international media is growing bolder. Outlets are now unafraid to voice their views, to shine a spotlight on the less savoury aspects of the royal family. They're calling out the perceived hypocrisy, the veiled elitism, and the manipulation that many believe is rife within the palace walls. This is not a localised phenomenon. The New York Times, a globally influential newspaper, recently published an article that not only questioned the leadership of King Charles and Prince William, but suggested that Charles's ongoing rift with Prince Harry could tarnish his legacy. This is a clear sign that the media's loyalty, once so firmly in the royal family's pocket, is wavering. The royal family may have thought their media relations were unassailable, but this is a wake-up call. It's a signal that the press, both domestic and international, is prepared to hold the monarchy accountable for their actions, to expose the truth behind the polished facade. The press is losing faith in the monarchy's moral high ground. The world is watching, and they're not just watching the royals. They're scrutinising them, questioning them. The global media machine is shifting gears, and it's moving away from blind adulation towards a more balanced, critical view. So, what does this mean for the royal family? It means that their actions, their decisions, their conduct is under a microscope. The world is watching, and the press is poised, ready to report on any misstep, any indiscretion. The tide is turning, and it's not in the monarchy's favour. The world is watching. The royal family, it seems, has dug its own grave. Their silence and entitlement are now their greatest enemies. For years, the royals have used the media as a shield, hiding behind a facade of pomp and ceremony, while allowing the press to demonise Harry and Meghan. But the world is starting to see through the smoke and mirrors. The monarchy's refusal to reconcile with Harry and Meghan is a glaring testament to their arrogance. They've chosen to isolate themselves, to cling on to antiquated notions of royal duty and honour, rather than extending an olive branch to two members of their own family. And this stubbornness, this refusal to change, is only exacerbating their predicament. Their silence, too, is deafening. As the media begins to question the monarchy's actions, their lack of response is seen as complicity. Their failure to defend Harry and Meghan, to stand up against the false narratives and vitriol, paints a picture of a family more concerned with their image than with justice. And their entitlement? It's a stark reminder of the monarchy's disconnect from the world. The royal family operates in a bubble, a world where they are the centre, where they set the rules. But the world is changing, and their inability to adapt, to recognise their own flaws and mistakes, is only driving the wedge deeper. The royal family's self-made crisis is a reflection of their own actions, their own choices. They thought they could control the narrative, manipulate the media to their advantage, but the tide is turning, and their once loyal allies are starting to question their actions. The narrative is not just slipping, it's collapsing. As the world begins to see the monarchy for what it truly is, the royal family finds itself on shaky ground. Their silence, their entitlement, their refusal to change, these are the factors that have led to their downfall, and unless they take drastic action, the monarchy's self-made crisis will only continue to worsen. Public opinion, like the tide, is shifting. The long-standing narrative that painted the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan, as the villains of the royal family saga, is being challenged. A growing number of people are beginning to question the mainstream media's portrayal of the couple and are instead showing their support. As this shift gains momentum, it's interesting to see the scales of public sentiment tipping in Harry and Meghan's favour. The couple, who once served as the scapegoats for the royal family's internal disagreements, are now being recognised for their courage to step away from the monarchy and carve out their own path. But this shift in public perception isn't just about Harry and Meghan, it's also about William and Kate, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Once the golden couple of the monarchy, they're now facing a decline in their approval ratings. It seems that their image as the perfect royal couple isn't holding up as well as it used to under the public's scrutinising gaze. What's behind this change? Why are people starting to question the narrative they've been fed by the media for so long? The answer is surprisingly simple. They're tired of the double standards, tired of the privilege masquerading as duty, tired of a crown that wields power without accountability. The public's changing perception is a clear indication of a broader societal shift. People are no longer willing to accept narratives without question. They want fairness, they want transparency, and they want leaders who are accountable for their actions. This shift in public sentiment doesn't bode well for the monarchy. If people continue to question the Crown's unaccountable use of power, it could lead to a significant loss of public support. This could, in turn, result in a weakening of the monarchy's influence and authority. In conclusion, people are tired of double standards and the Crown's unaccountable use of power. This changing public perception could have far-reaching implications for the future of the monarchy. But for now, it's clear that the tide is turning, and it's not in the monarchy's favour. The royal family's biggest threat may no longer be Harry. It might be the very media machine they once controlled. Imagine a future where the international press scrutinises the monarchy like other political institutions. No longer is the royal family shielded by the veil of tradition, pomp and pageantry. Instead, they face the same level of examination as world leaders and political figures. It's a reality that's not too far off. In this new era, the royal family's flaws and shortcomings won't be hidden behind closed palace doors. Instead, they'll be laid bare for the world to see. The media, once their staunchest ally, could become their greatest nemesis, turning the spotlight on the monarchy's hypocrisy, elitism, and manipulation. This could result in a level of exposure the royals have never experienced before. Their actions, decisions, and even their personal lives will be critiqued, dissected, and analysed. The shield of media loyalty they've enjoyed for so long will crumble, leaving them vulnerable to the world's judgment. And with this shift, there will be fallout. The monarchy's image, carefully cultivated over centuries, could be irreparably damaged. Their influence might dwindle, and their relevance could be called into question. The royal family, once perceived as untouchable, could find themselves at the mercy of public opinion. There will be those who will cling to the old narratives, who will resist this change, but the tide is turning. More and more people are growing weary of the double standards, of the lack of accountability, of the Crown's manipulation of the media. They're ready for transparency, for honesty, for a monarchy that's held to the same standards as everyone else. The days of an unchallenged monarchy are fading, and even their strongest allies are starting to walk away. This isn't just a prediction. It's an inevitability, and when it happens, the royal family will find themselves in uncharted territory, facing a future without the loyalty of the media they once controlled. So, yes, Charles should be worried. The media's lens is shifting, revealing the royal family's self-made crisis. Public perception is changing, and the implications are profound. An era without media loyalty is dawning. The monarchy's once unchallenged rule is wavering. This isn't a mere ripple in the pond, but a tidal wave that could reshape royal narratives. Thanks for tuning in to Celebrity Scoop. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more bold takes and honest analysis.